Very much for that. Well, Theresa May has been accused of having a pale, male and stale image within her government, so she's injected some youth and enthusiasm with her latest reshuffle. Or has she? Let's talk in a moment to Danielle Rowley, who's MP for Midlothian, the youngest Labour Party member. But first, let's go to Ben Bradley, the youngest Conservative MP, appointed yesterday by Theresa May as one of her new party vice-chairs with responsibility for youth. Is that a tough gig?
It is a tough gig, but it's a very important one. I think actually Theresa May's clearly recognised, and the party, the government have recognised some of the challenges from the 2017 election. Frankly, we did not manage to put ourselves across well and engage with younger people. And frankly, that's not just teenagers and students. That's right up to younger working age families and people who turned away from us in 2017. So we've got a real challenge to overcome.
I'm right in thinking, how many jobs have you had? Something like 11 jobs?
I've had a few, yeah.
And I mean, there are those who are going to say, at last, there's someone who's got a bit of life experience. Because do you walk into a room of other Conservative MPs and think, I've left this century?
Oh, look, I think, anybody who comes into Parliament feels they've got a point to prove, and I'm no different. I've always wanted to come in and do something useful and to prove myself. And I'm really pleased to be given an opportunity with something that actually I'm really passionate about, which is trying to change the way, there's two aspects to it, I think. Firstly, trying to change the way that we put ourselves across, trying to get back to explaining it to people what our values are, as opposed to just the process and the policy, which we're not very good at. And then on the other side of the coin, dealing with some of the policy issues that have been talked about. Lord Headstone was just talking about in terms of housing, in terms of health and social care, in terms of the environment and our sustainability for the future, things that are really important to young people and to everybody, but issues we need to get on top of.
Danielle Rowley, I'm just wondering, whatever's true of the Conservatives is perhaps true equally of Labour. This perception is that it's, bit male, bit pale, bit stale.
Absolutely not. I think that our shadow cabinet and indeed across all of our benches were far more representative of society. But let's not pretend that this reshuffle wasn't just an excuse to try and bury bad news and to cover up the shambles that is Brexit. And if the Prime Minister can't even get her reshuffle right and negotiate that properly, how's she going to negotiate a good deal for Brexit?
But I'm interested more in the attitude of youth, because that was something that Jeremy Corbyn very much appealed to during the last election. Hence, 2/3 of younger people voted for Labour. And I'm just wondering if they would still vote if there was an election tomorrow.
Absolutely. I think Labour captured young people's imaginations and passions because we had a message of hope, and we had something on offer in our manifesto that young people and indeed all of society wanted to listen to and vote for. And I just don't think that the Tories are cutting it, and this reshuffle does not represent any hope at all.
Let's talk about hope with Ben Bradley, because Ben Bradley, I'm just wondering, you said it's a tough gig, as you say, and so far there are those that would say the Tories haven't been very good at appealing to young people. So what does Theresa May need to do?
I agree, and I think Jeremy Corbyn did win over a lot of younger people in the election with a lot of policies and a lot of promises that have proven since to not be deliverable, and I think people have recognised that. From our point internally, I think everyone's keen to judge the reshuffle before the reshuffle is finished. There's every reason for continuity at the top with everything that's going on and the challenges that we face with Brexit and everything else. But actually, I think we'll see, as we get later on into today, more changes, more new faces, new voices to perhaps change that engagement and the face of the party a little bit on a national level. For us, I think there's a lot of different things we need to get into, as I say, to try and put across our values in a way that we haven't been good at doing, to try and not just talk about the policy and the process, but to try and tell people why we're Conservatives and why we're trying to deliver long-term sustainable plans for things like our NHS.
Okay.
That is not as simple as just chucking money at it as Corbyn would.
Okay, I just need to bring Danielle